Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Music Den. I'm your host Armando Venditti. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with Going for the One. In this series, we are covering our favorite debut albums, and today the crew have allowed me to discuss an album that I would like to bring to your attention. Now, the group that I'm going to be talking about today also falls under the category of supergroup. We are talking about Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young, or other people would say sometimes Young, and their debut release of Deja Vu, released on March 11th, 1970, through Atlantic Records. Now, on the album cover, you'll see Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young, along with Dallas Taylor, who provided drumming, and Greg Reeves, who played bass for them. Both musicians played those respective instruments for the entire album. Now, this group has a long story. Started out as Crosby, Stills, and Nash. Really, this is a follow-up to Crosby, Stills, and Nash, released from the previous year, self-titled. Uh, David Crosby, part of the Byrds. Stephen Stills, part of Buffalo Springfield, and Graham Nash is part of the Hollies. Now, each member, Crosby, Stills, and Nash, all left their bands for various reasons. Dissatisfaction with directions that their respective bands were going in. I do believe that David Crosby was actually kicked out of the Byrds
Yep.
for being difficult to deal with.
Yep.
Uh, Graham Nash found dissatisfaction with being in the Hollies, so he relocated to California, eventually meeting up with Joni Mitchell you know, and Neil Young was in also Buffalo Springfield with Stephen Stills. And as we've already discussed in a previous episode, how shall I put this diplomatically? Neil Young's allegiance and loyalty to being in a band, whoever it's with, is fleeting at the best of times. Now, it was, from the information I have, it was David Crosby's idea to have Neil Young join Crosby, Stills, and Nash. So he agreed, and they set about to record this album. Now, I'll give you a bit of the background of the album. Again, it was released on March 11th, 1970, recorded from July of 1969 to January of 1970. Has a playing time of 36 minutes and 24 seconds. As I've said before, that is a perfect playing time for a vinyl release, quite short for a CD release. Released again through Atlantic Records, recorded in Hollywood and San Francisco. Um, this album for Atlantic Records received a lot of hype, and they received pre-orders to the amount of $2 million. So it was stoked in terms of the anticipation for this album. There were four singles released from this album: "Carry On," "Woodstock," the Joni Mitchell penned composition, "Our House," and "Teach Your Children." Now, out of the four singles that were released, "Carry On" was considered to be a minor hit for the band. This album would go on to sell 8 million copies worldwide, uh, achieving seven times platinum, and is considered to be the highest selling album in the catalog for Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, and for their individual members and those regarding their solo careers. Now, there are 10 tracks on the album. Uh, yeah, it is quite quite good. With one exception, there is one boil on the butt of this album that we'll get into. Okay, uh, eventually. Well, Ken says two, but I say one. But in terms of the tracks, there was one song on the album, Country Girl, which I want to talk to you about. Country Girl, penned by Neil Young, is a sweet put together of three songs, song fragments: Whiskey Boot Hill, Down, 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 and Country Girl, I Think You're Pretty, that they cobbled together to make up the what I would call Country Girl Suite. Now the album starts off with the track Carry On, Stephen Stills track. And you're going to hear me say tight harmonies well, throughout this album. There's a lot of tight harmonies, very intricate harmony work on this stuff, on this album, sorry, on these tracks. Great guitar tone on this track. And again, it's multi-section. And in terms of the recording of this album, I should backtrack. Stephen Stills in an interview had said that there were a lot of tracks that were left off from the recording sessions. And there is a 50th anniversary edition of this album that has been released. I can't seem to get my hands on it. If you want to pay a lot of money for it at this point, go for it. You can find it on Discogs and probably also Amazon .com or .co.uk, but it's no longer available on Amazon.ca, so I'm out of luck on that one. But Stephen Stills had also said, with regards to Neil Young, he was always considered a lone wolf, that he would basically write his compositions, bring the tapes in, have his parts already done, and just have the other three sing their harmonies on the tracks, and that would be it. So there was a lot going on in terms of the background, in terms of this the recording of this album. Graham Nash had broken up with Joni Mitchell. Stephen Stills, I do believe, I read that he was dealing with the heartache of the death of his girlfriend.
Yep.
And so there was a lot going on here. And Stephen Stills equated putting this album together was equated it as to pulling teeth in terms of getting things done with this album. Now, again, the album does start off with Carry On, the minor hit. Again, tight harmonies on this track, multi-section. Teacher Children, the Graham Nash track is next. Beautifully done. Harmonies all over the place. Just very intricate, very delicate, very emotional for me. And I'm a big softie. Now, track three is the one pimple on the butt of this album, okay? This is the equivalent of Mother from Synchronicity. Um, and it's
Ooh.
called Almost Cut My Hair from David Crosby, clocking in at 4 minutes and 31 seconds. One question to Crosby. Rest in peace. Why? Why? Or to Nash and Stills and Young, why would you allow this track to be put on this album?
I'll
It,
tell you.
uh-huh.
That
Um,
was my guess.
the
Yeah.
Yeah.
least said about this track, the better. I'm moving on. Okay. Now, track four is the classic Helpless from Neil Young. Beautifully done. I just wish it was longer.
Yeah.
3 minutes and 33 seconds. It should be longer. Now, I for me, getting back to Helpless for just a brief second, this is considered to be the other great Canadian song in terms of the history of Canadian folk music. And if you really want to hear a good version of Helpless, check out Katie Lang's cover album, Hymns of the 49th, where she does a beautiful version of this track on the album. Amazing. Her voice fits it beautifully. Side one ends with
Can I
the
can I just sorry, Armando, can I just add that I also highly endorse the version that's on the band's Last Waltz
That's right.
album
That's right.
with the Joni singing harmony vocals off
That's right.
stage.
That's right.
Gorgeous.
That's right. That's right.
Robbie Robertson. Oh, fantastic.
Sure.
Yeah.
I have that. I have that show. It's amazing. I have the box set. Big surprise. So
What's the other great Canadian folk song of all time? Was it Both Sides Now?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Apparently, when they were rehearsing to do the show, Neil Young should turn up for rehearsals, and he said to them, "Why don't we do the other great Canadian folk song?" And he was referring to "Helpless," and I don't know what the other one was. I have to watch the concert again to see what in
Yeah.
the documentary about. But
Okay.
carrying on with this album, Woodstock does end off side one, and Stills is on lead vocals for this. Strong harmonies on this track, good guitar tone, and good groove to this track. The vocals for this track apparently were recorded quite a few times, but just different takes were added to vocal takes were added to the main track, to the finished product on certain songs. Side two starts off with the title track, Crosby composition, intricate acoustic guitar, tight harmonies again on this track, warm guitar tone, uh, what I call delicate bass on this piece. And again, it's multi-section on this, different sections to it. Our House is track two, the Graham Nash composition. The only description I have in this in my notes is pop confection. The story is he wrote this when he and Joni Mitchell were still living together and they were still in a relationship and they had gone out to the market. They had come back home and she was in the front yard and he was just watching her and from the window of their living room, and he wrote this on the piano. A few weeks later they broke up. I mean, let's not even go there.
So
Okay. So
It happens.
the next track, 4 plus 20, Stephen Stills. Again, 2 minutes and 6 seconds, very short. Great acoustic guitar on this piece. And Country Girl is next. The longest track with Young, Crosby, all four of them on lead vocals, sharing lead vocals. 5 minutes and 11 seconds. Great piano, nice use of timpani, and great organ on this track. As I go through my notes here, the album ends off with "Everybody I Love You," Stephen Stills track with Neil Young on lead vocals. Short track, 2 minutes and 21 seconds. Great tempo, strong bass, tight harmonies, and yeah, good way to end off. Uh, Good way to end off the album. Now, also appearing on this album, you have Jerry Garcia, who plays a pedal steel guitar on Teacher's Children, and John Sebastian of the Lemon Spoonful. Obviously, Jerry Garcia of Grateful Dead. John Sebastian provides harmonica on Deja Vu. Yeah, I think this is a strong album, minus Almost Cut My Hair. Uh, what the hell were you thinking? I'm sorry. But yeah, I think this is a strong album. And yeah, if you, you know what? I mean, for me, music like this no longer exists at all. I mean, in terms of good, strong composition, um, just and good harmonies. I just think that albums like this no longer exist in modern music. So that's why I wanted to bring it to people's attention. But that's it. Notes, comments? Yes, Ken?
For an album that's not perfect, it does have perfect openers and closers to me.
I would agree. I would agree.
Okay.
I would agree.
I have a question, and I think this is probably best directed at Ken. Is the guitar solo work on the title cut, is that all Stills?
I believe so.
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so. Um, if one likes the track on here 4 and 20, then check out Stephen Stills' first three solo albums. Again, I've said this many times on the channel. I'm a huge Stephen Stills fan.
You are.
Yeah, and whether he's playing acoustic, electric guitar, organ, bass, whatever, he always brings an A game.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, people seem to forget that he's a multi-instrumentalist.
incredibly multi-instrumentalist, and as a guitar player, he's also been very, very influential. We've talked about that on an earlier episode. But unlike the debut album, the Crosby, Stills, Nash album,
Yeah,
they did bring in and use other musicians on this, whereas on their first album with just the three of them,
yeah.
Stills played almost everything on that.
Really? Okay,
So yeah,
okay, yeah. And
almost,
I
almost.
I do like the fact that they credited them on the backing musicians, Dallas Taylor and Greg Reeves,
Yes,
as on the album cover with them. Because I mean they're basically providing drums and bass for the entire album, so
yes,
why not give them that proper credit, right?
exactly.
And again, the tensions in Crosby, Stills, Nash alone were also evident and quite well known. I mean, rest in peace, David Crosby, but he did not make it easy to function in a band with him whatsoever. I've said this before in another episode where they were doing a show, about to do a show, and David Crosby didn't want to perform just because he wasn't in the mood to do so. And when Nash and Stills turned up at his house, there's a scene in this documentary where Stills is standing over because Crosby's lying in a hammock, and Stills is standing over him saying, pardon my language, but he says, "Don't you ever fucking do that to me again. Don't
Yeah.
you ever do that to me again. I will hang you out to dry. I do not need your shit." Like he was
Mhm.
just, he went ballistic on him. And Crosby's just like, I wasn't feeling it. And to me, I would have strangled the guy because it just, why would you do something like that? I just wasn't feeling it. You know what? That's not a good enough reason. Give me more. You know what I mean? And you want me to respect you and put up with you? I don't think so. I wouldn't do it anymore.
Called
But
narcissism. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. No, I know. I know.
Hey,
And
just
guys,
one quick.
uh, go ahead.
I was gonna say I had a quick follow-on question to Greg Reeves and Dallas Taylor. Both of
Yeah.
those guys also went on to be part of Manassas. Do I recall that correctly?
I believe so. Yeah. At least Taylor, I know for sure.
Okay, thank you.
Also, if one really likes this area of music, Dallas Taylor's story is pretty tragic too. I would recommend finding some of the books. It's a fascinating and tragic read.
Okay.
Just saying.
All right. No, no, it's good to know. It's good to know. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Another episode of Going for the One, focusing on Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young. Deja Vu. Please put down in the comments your opinion of this album. And again, any albums that are debut albums that you feel that they're your favorite. Cannot say that word for some reason. Anyways, we want to get a dialogue going about these albums and about what your favorite debut albums would be, right?
Yep.
So for Sagosh, Ken, and Jim, I'm Armando signing off. Again, click like and subscribe and do hit the notification bell to keep yourselves on top of any new content we've got coming up. And we will see you soon with another episode of Going for the One. Bye for now.